That is where you have the bulk of the task. Carrying your baby is one thing. You're on holiday. You are really on holiday. The moment you give it to your baby, the job starts and you'll be needing some help. So pushing him away will make him feel like, well, I'm not needed. This is not my department. She can go ahead and make all the decisions. You go ahead and make all the decisions and you do all the carrying and all the tasks and everything. You're 20 weeks along, and this means you're halfway through your pregnancy. That means you are 5 months pregnant and you have 4 months to go. Now let's talk a little about daddy today. If you're a first-time mom and this is the first time you're getting pregnant with an expectant father, it might be quite difficult to more like conceptualize the fact that, oh, I'm going to be a dad. The idea of being a father might strengthen your relationship deeply if you are able to understand his feelings within this period. Being a father is said to be the best thing that happens to a man, and every real man is always happy to be a father. I've heard that happen before. Not like I've heard that happen before. I've seen such before. In a case where a man was like, do I say I was just dropping? I went there for another transaction actually, and I heard this man discussing with a few other guys, younger men, and he was like, the best thing that will happen to you, the most special thing in life that would ever happen to you is being a father, because by the time you look at your children, you think about the fact that you have to go out to make the day's ends meet. You have to, sit up, change your decisions, think wisely before you make the next step, because there are some people who are looking up to you more like a replica of you. It's more like you being able to recreate yourself in someone else. That is the best thing that happens to a man. I've always felt it's so wonderful to be a mom. Moms are special, moms are this and moms are that. But may I let you know that the men feel the same way too. You have to carry your man along. There are ladies who feel they've done the man so much of a favor for carrying the baby from day 1 to 9 months. We are special in our own way, and the men are also special in their own way. If only we can realize that and not know or not see from the angle that we're the one bearing the whole brunt, the man is also bearing his own emotional and psychological issues too. In your 20th week, it's advisable for you to start preparing your nursery. Some can actually prepare a nursery for their baby, more like have the funds to dedicate a room and all sort of essentials for their baby's nursery. Some cannot. I'm not saying everybody should go about creating a nursery. It depends on what you have in your pockets. We are all different. But the most essential things are the delivery things that you require in the hospital, as well as your baby's well-being, including your baby's clothes, your baby's cosmetics, your baby's toys, your baby's sleeping wear, bath wear, and all that. This should be taken into consideration at this period, because this is where you have enough strength to go about doing everything you need to do. And that also includes your maternity wear and every other thing that will make you comfortable up until you deliver and even after you deliver your baby. So when I say creating your nursery, I'm actually talking about every essential you require for your pregnancy and your delivery, not necessarily creating a space for your baby. And if you can afford that, this is the period where you go into creating that nursery of your dream that you've always had in your head. Bring your dream nursery to reality at this stage of your pregnancy. You're stronger now, so take advantage of it. The reason why you should get into that right now is because the heavier you get, you achieve less. So as far as the nursery items are concerned, the fittings and all that, allow your husband to make a decision about some things, because it's going to get him involved. And the more involved he is, the better it is for you when you actually deliver, because your husband would also be involved when you deliver your baby. That is where you have the bulk of the task. Carrying your baby is one thing. You're on holiday. You are really on holiday. The moment you give it to your baby, the job starts and you'll be needing some help. So pushing him away will make him feel like, well, I'm not needed. This is not my department. She can go ahead and make all the decisions. You go ahead and make all the decisions, and you do all the carrying and all the tasks and everything. Sharing your feelings. If he is a first-time dad, he may be anxious or experiencing anxiety about how to take care of you and taking care of the baby. And you actually have to discuss that with your husband. Give him some confidence. Let him know that you have his back, and he should also have your back, because you're going to go through these together. I've seen a clip where a man had an issue with his wife and she just had to leave the house because the baby would be taking so much of his wife's attention. She got angry because he wasn't able to balance his emotions, and she went out, and he also got angry and folded his arms, staying in the house, more like, you don't care about me, you don't love me again, and that's the reason why the baby is taking up most of your time. Thirdly, your husband is going to have a much later start as far as knowing the baby is concerned. He has to wait up until you give birth to the baby before he starts getting familiar with the baby. But you have always known the baby from day one, because the baby has been inside you, making the movements and all that. You've been nursing the baby up until the baby was delivered. You have to make your husband feel a lot comfortable. There are cases whereby you have a husband holding the belly, putting his ear on the baby, trying to bond. Allow him. Even if he's afar and he's unable to bring himself to get himself familiar with the baby, assist him. Take the baby to your husband. Some carry babies like this. Like, if I'm to give birth to a child, my husband doesn't know how to carry the baby. He carries the baby like a fragile piece of glass or something. He'll be like, take, I'm going to bring the baby, you know. And he tries to get himself familiar as long as the baby becomes stronger. People are different. You can actually help your husband relate more. There are men who can carry a baby that is even premature, that cannot even, that are so fragile. Some are not like that. If you have one who's like that, try to help him. How big is my baby at 20 weeks? Your little one weighs about 10 ounces and has a crown to rump height of about 6.5 inches. And while your baby is getting bigger, there is still enough, like plenty of room in your uterus. Boy or girl? If you're carrying a baby girl, your baby fetus is fully formed this week and the vaginal canal is beginning to develop. And that means in a few decades, you're going to be a grandma. Your baby has eggs in her ovaries now, about 7 million. But at the point of birth, she'll be having 1 or 2 million eggs. And that means the eggs will be reducing up until she is giving birth to. If your baby is a boy, the testicles are beginning their descent soon. Though the testicles are still in the abdomen waiting for the scrotum to finish growing, they'll have a place to go in a few weeks. Now, unlike the girl, her eggs are formed. She has 7 million. Then the boy is waiting because the scrotum is yet to be fully formed. Even though the testicles are already in the abdomen, it is still waiting for the scrotum to fully form. You see the diversity in human beings, and that's the reason why we should always accommodate other people, because they might not be at the stage in which we are. And we also might not be in the stage that they are. Your 20 weeks pregnancy belly. Now that you are in the midpoint of your pregnancy, the little one you're carrying inside has become more of a reality, and into the extent that you are drawing a smile from every passerby. They are noticing that you are getting bigger, and they're sharing in your joy with you because your baby bump is obvious. Your appetite has heightened, and you have popped enough to make it obvious for people to notice you. So when you're that way, you can now wear your maternity wear. Don't be alarmed if your baby bump has not protruded as much as you would have expected it. People differ. Simply see your doctor if you feel any concern. Hair and nail growth. You might also be noticing that your nails are stronger and your hair is growing rapidly. Your hair grows faster, it looks fuller, and it looks thicker. You can thank the pregnancy hormones for that, because they trigger a surge in circulation during pregnancy. And this surge brings about extra nutrients to the hair and to your nails. Your nails may be long, but it may also be dry and brittle. Your hair may look irresistible now, but it will not be for long. It all ends the moment you give birth. I have a little advice against hair loss after delivery. After delivery, manipulate your hair less. If it is possible for you to carry a hairstyle with minimum manipulation, please go ahead and do that. That's because your hair loss period is within 3 months. And that's the reason why some people tend to, do some cornrows, tiny cornrows that will last them for like Like over here, I've had cases where some people make some false locks, and they tend to make a protective style where they keep their hair inside the locks and they keep it in for 3 months. Once that period elapses, they loosen the hair and they still have their hair. There are people who cannot even do that. There are people who just have to make their hair every 2 weeks. I wonder how they're going to manage that, but that's a technique that I've seen people do. I've not been able to do that, but it works for them. Some tend to cut their hair so they won't have to go about manipulating the hair. The part of the hair that suffers the most as far as delivery is concerned is your front hair. The hair loss comes from the front. You lose your edges, you even lose the length, your hair becomes scanty and all that. And you've been enjoying this while you were pregnant. Full hair, thick hair, fine hair. Everybody's admiring your hair. No matter how you manipulate the hair, no matter the product you use on the hair is still flourishing and looking good. Even if you use a detergent to wash your hair, even if you use a dishwasher to wash your hair, nothing will happen to it. And I'm wondering, how can we ever replicate this same thing that happened during pregnancy and retain our hair to whatever extent we want? So if you've ever delivered before and you never suffered any kind of hair loss, please tell us the technique you use. I have only given my own advice. Your advice would help a lot of people. I even need more advice. So if you have any technique whatsoever, whatever you did, however you did it, please put it in a comment below. Feeding your appetite. I know that with weeks of nausea and food aversions, you cannot just wait to start eating everything that you have always wanted to eat that you couldn't eat. But you have to be very careful in this period because you have to follow the food rules. And the food rule is that you have to eat little quantity of food. If you have a particular chunk that you would have eaten on a normal day or that you feel like eating, divide it into 2 so that you can take them gradually. The reason why you're doing this is not only because you want to get rid of issues of heartburn or indigestion, but the moment you eat your food in little chunks that way, you'll be able to help your baby to maximize every nutrient that you obtain from the food that you eat. It's easier for you to digest, and the moment you're able to digest your food, that means your baby is going to get every nutrient needed to grow. So what happens to you, mommy, at week 20? Your gums are softer than they ever were. Understand that. You don't need a hard toothbrush. You're not washing your denim. The harder your toothbrush, the more you're prone for injury. Secondly, you may find out your baby is more active in the evening, and that makes it a lot easier for your partner to be able to find your baby moving while it's still in your womb. So share those moments with your partner and don't let him miss out on any one of them. What happens to your baby? Your baby is coated in Vernix. Remember Vernix caseosa? The Vernix protects your baby's delicate skin from being submerged into the amniotic fluid for that long. So it protects it from the effects of the fluid. Secondly, your little one is working very hard on those sucking skills. Remember, your baby is going to suckle off your breast. So that exercise is going to be done inside the womb where the baby keeps practicing how to suck. It doesn't happen by magic. It's not magic. Something is going on inside your womb, and that's the magnificence of the Creator. Isn't that wonderful? So in this week, you should be able to detect if you have a boy or a girl. It is so clear. It is so glaring in this week. So if you haven't checked the gender of your baby, it is clearer now. Please do it as soon as possible. So that'll be all for now. Thanks for watching this video. If it has helped in any way, please give us a thumbs up and share to people who would need it. If you're yet to be a subscriber, do not hesitate to hit on the subscribe button and hit on the notification so you don't miss out on any video. It's not just a video on pregnancy, but totally on women. So that'll be all for now. See you in the next video. Let's see you in week 21. Bye-bye.